Kia ora, Tefano. Welcome back to Two Tipsy Plants podcast, the podcast where we talk plants and drink booze. My name is Sasha.
And my name is Sasha. And
hello. Today's topic is interesting and different from what we usually talk about.
Just like every other topic.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is plant focused, obviously, but it's not focused on specific plants, I feel it's more focused on the wider and broader...
The bigger picture,
which still relates to plants. So today we will be talking about future and how the world is going to look in the future in terms of plants and what can be done to prevent climate change or adjust to climate change, or in my case, there is something that is pretty much apocalypse proof.
And this is how Sasha have approached that topic. How I have approached that topic is how we prepare the plants to be ready for the climate change.
Which is still, it's still the same topic though. Yeah.
Just less apocalyptic and a little bit more true to life, I guess.
Well, mine is not very apocalyptic, but there's one topic that,
Nobody's spraying the silver paint into their teeth?
What?
Nobody's spraying the silver paint into the teeth or golden paint? Like Mad Max.
It took me a while to get what Sasha is saying, but okay. No.
Is it the accent or is it the gibberish?
No, it's the I forgot the reference. It's me not remembering the reference. Yeah.
Okay.
But, as usual,
the first guest of our show...
Yes, we have a guest.
...is usually the alcohol.
Ooh, that's a fancy bottle. What is it?
Give me a second, I need to take... actually, I don't need to take the...
No, because you can see the... Oh, the opener. No, it's a... Yeah.
So...
We are drinking this today, whatever that is.
Actually, yes. I need to take a picture of you.
Mandatory photo session with a bottle.
With a bottle?
I don't know why we do it during the podcast. We could have done it before or after, but it's okay. Okay, tell us more about Puglia Primitivo.
So the region is Puglia. It's Italian wine.
Mm-hmm.
It is organic, biodynamic, and the grape variety is Primitivo.
Mm-hmm.
Primitivo is typically quite fruit forward and soft. Am I pulling the microphone?
Yep, the pillow was moving the mic.
So yeah, it's quite fruit forward, but quite soft on tannins. The other variety that you might know Primitivo by is Zinfandel. Zinfandel is typically the grape that you would harvest in California.
Okay.
Well, America, not California in particular. This wine in particular have been harvested in 2022, and the climate in Puglia in 2022 was quite warm and dry, which have enabled this wine to... So these favorable climate conditions have led the grapes to have the high sugar content in them and concentrate the flavors in a grape. It resulted in wine with intense fruit characteristics. It has good acidity and good tannins. Well, expected to at least, because I haven't tasted it yet. But also because it was quite hot, the climate itself, potentially the wine have experienced, not the wine, but the grapes have experienced the heat stress. Overall, the warmth does benefit the wine, but the heat stress in the wines can result in a little bit too high of the sugar content, so you might have too high heat in it.
Are you saying that I might have a headache after this?
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, typically in the area of Puglia, they harvest two types of grape, Primitivo and Negromaro. That's the region's flagship grapes.
Nice.
And this wine in particular, by the Vivino app,
Yeah.
have been characterized as more towards the bold side, more towards the smooth, like on a scale of light to bold, more towards the bold, on a scale of smooth to tannic, more towards the smooth, sweet to dry, it will be more on the dry side, surprisingly, and soft to acidic will be more soft. The notes that the people have decided to give it is oak, chocolate, vanilla, dark fruits like plum and blackcurrant, cherry, and cranberry.
Nice.
Okay, it might be time to actually open up the bottle
Yes.
and taste it ourselves.
Yes, please. Exchange? Oh, that's a nice sound.
Anything that is opening a bottle is a nice sound.
Very nice. Very nice.
There you go.
Thank you. Ooh. That is, like, rich. Very. Today is Thursday, by the way.
Ooh, she does smell a little bit porty, even. Maybe a little bit sherry.
I don't know about port, but yeah, definitely like sherry.
Raisiny?
Yeah. Raisins or prunes,
Yeah. Well, raisins are typically sherry, and prunes and plums are more of a port.
I don't mind it. Okay, just before we continue, did you check that your echo is all the way down?
I think it is.
Just maybe. Is it down now?
Now it's down.
Just in case Sasha sounded a bit echoey, the microphone that Sasha uses has like this stupid thing where like there's an effect button straight directly on the microphone, and if you tune it up, it just makes that echoey sound
hello.
that we had in
The previous...
not the previous, but the episode
before that, yeah.
27.
27, I think. Episode 27 it is.
26. This is 28.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have a cheesy aftertaste? Like slightly... Like, not milky, but...
Maybe a little bit. You see what you mean, like sort of a coating kind of. Don't know. It's a nice wine, but I feel like. Do you think it needs to breathe a little bit?
It is a little bit on colder side at the moment as well.
Yeah. Or maybe let's revisit.
I like it. It's quite nice as a chill red.
Yeah, maybe let's revisit it in a bit once it warms up a bit, just to see if it opens up a bit. Because I like. It's nice, but I feel like it needs to open up.
It's not supposed to be a strong wine. Primitivo is typically light wine, even though it's dark fruits and everything. What is the percentage out here? 13.5.
Standard.
Standard, but the tannins are usually quite low.
I don't know. I still feel there are quite a few tannins in there.
Yeah, and usually it has a medium to lower body as well. Like it's not a full-bodied wine.
Okay.
Okay.
Sasa,
Yeah.
tell me what you've found. So, we chose this topic, I guess, because it is something that we are going to face in the future.
If not us, but our descendants.
Yeah, but also based on the direction that, we are heading into. It could be even us.
It's all headed towards hell. And it's hot in there, so let's prepare.
Yeah. Okay. How would you prepare? Tell me. I'll let you start. And then we'll go from there. That is Rosie banging her tail because she's very happy.
So yeah, adapting to climate change is not just about keeping vines alive. It is all about thriving in conditions that are increasingly unpredictable. Think how high temperatures, drought, pests, and all sorts of stress affect your, anything that you grow, not just stuff that you harvest, but just your regular trees as well, and your house plants. And with the current climate going towards the warmer, you will see a lot of weather patterns changing. Rosie.
What is she eating?
What was it?
I don't know. It's something. I don't know what it is. You're a weirdo.
No.
So yeah, with the weather with the increasing temperatures, the weather patterns will change, which means you can expect different humidity, different like seasons going to be drier or warmer or wetter depending on the region.
Everything is gonna get a bit more extreme.
Extreme, skewed. You can't really predict it that much, to be honest.
Speaking of extreme, we are having very extreme weather today in Christchurch.
It is quite wet.
Well, the whole country is actually very wet, the whole of New Zealand, but Christchurch is in state of emergency because of all the floods that we are having. I will actually talk about that a little bit later. But
you know what is the good thing, that the flood happened now and not earlier? The grapes picking season have already finished, which means it's not going to.
The wine is
The
gonna
wine
be
is
made.
safe.
Yeah.
We're not going to experience the diluted flavors. Yeah. So another result of climate change will be the migration of species. So the pests that have never been in the region before can come to the region that you are now.
Okay.
And it's not just insects, but bacteria as well.
Yeah.
So, what are the ways to prevent that? For me in particular, I'm going to be covering only grapevines in this episode because that's what I'm passionate about.
That is completely fine.
And there are two main ways to help the grapes adapt to the changing climate. The first one is the rootstocks, and the second one is the clonal selection. And those are like the superheroes of the grapevine world, to be honest.
So do they graft grapes?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. So, for those who don't know, when Sasha said rootstocks, you would use a rootstock from one plant, well, from one grape variety, and you would graft the variety that you want to harvest to it. In that way, they do that with a lot of things, like tomatoes is one of the popular things.
The easiest example probably is tomato.
Yeah.
Because like you can put tomato plant onto your potato. You can graft your tomato on your potato, so you harvest tomatoes and potatoes.
I mean, they are from the same family, right? They're all solanums, so yeah. So yeah, in that sense, if you use a different rootstock, you'll use
benefits of that variety.
Yeah.
Well done, Rosie.
The dog just farted.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the rootstocks.
Yes.
The rootstocks are essentially the foundation of the grapevines, and like unsung heroes, they keep the vines stable. There are certain rootstocks that actually perform much better in challenging climate conditions. So one of the good examples will be the rootstock 99R.
Okay.
That sounds a little bit like something futuristic, like
It sounds like
R2D2.
Yeah. Ching.
Yeah, but this one is all about resilience, actually. And what makes it special is that 99R is a hybrid between two types of the wild grapes, which is Vitis berlandieri and Vitis riparia. These wild species are like the most valuable players of rootstock development. Vitis berlandieri brings that crucial drought resistance, and Vitis riparia adds some serious protection against phylloxera. Phylloxera is the grapevine disease, bacterial disease that is quite devastating to the wine. Yeah. So having that as the resistant base for the grapevine is quite invaluable.
So the rootstock is used from a much stronger grape, right? So is that currently used?
Yeah, it
Grafting?
is currently used for grafting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the other fact is that the variety of grape stock 99R thrives in calcareous soils, which, let's face it, can be pretty tough to work with. If you ever had to deal with alkaline soils, you know tricky that can be. How tricky can it be? Now, the geeky moment.
So calcareous means...
Geeky fact of the day. Calcareous soils...
there we go.
You can put like some kind of music at the background. The effect of the day. Calcareous soils most often formed from limestone or in dry environments where low rainfall prevents the soils from being leached or from carbonates. Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
Canterbury. Limestone soils, dry, not too much rainfall.
Okay. Not too much rainfall. Not today.
Not today. Calcareous soils are basically base-rich, which with little leaching of plant nutrient. Calcareous soils frequently cause nutrient deficiencies for many plants. It's a good thing that for interesting and complex flavors in grapevines, you usually grow them on a poorer soils. Not like rich, but...
So is that because the grape likes it, or is it because it's putting a bit of stress onto the plant to create more flavor?
Well, you like your wines to be a bit more minerally sometimes, and that's usually...
Yeah, fair enough.
That's usually not the definition of fertile soil. I don't know. Somebody please throw stones at me if I'm doing something wrong over here. And Vitis berlenzii is actually native to southern United States and northern Mexico. It's not just a pretty face. This species is also tough as nails and loves calcareous soils.
Okay. So what was the second one? So you said rootstock, and there was something else.
So there are two things. There are two types of rootstock that people are using. There is 99R and there is 1103P. For that one, I'll get back to that after you cover one of your parts, and then after the rootstocks, I'm gonna talk about the I forgot. I'm going to talk about the clonal selection.
Clonal selection.
Yeah, so it's basically selecting species based on the how it presents itself, like based on the traits that are beneficial to you.
Okay, cool. I wanted to talk about something that is kind of related to, I guess, modifying the plants a little bit, which is this system called CRISPR. It is spelled as CRISPR, pronounced as CRISPR, apparently, and it stands for Clustered Regularly Interspaced Short Palindromic Repeats. I got it correctly. Give me a 5-star. Apparently, it's a revolutionary gene editing technology that allows scientists
Revolutionary.
What did I say?
Revolutionary.
Bees. That allows scientists to precisely cut and modify DNA in living organisms. So pretty much it is like a crop the DNA out and insert another piece of DNA into that DNA to modify.
Copy paste of a science world.
Pretty much, it's actually this is how it is described. Actually, yeah. So how does CRISPR work? It's obviously a simplified version of it because I'm not a scientist.
Can it make my grapes crisper? My wine crisper?
Yeah, maybe. So CRISPR targets. It uses a guide RNA, gRNA, to find a specific DNA sequence in a genome. Pretty much like searching for a scientific sentence in a book. You then cut it, so once the guide RNA locks onto the target, the enzyme Cas9, whatever that means, or a similar protein acts like scissors to cut the DNA at that exact spot. And then after you cut it, you can actually edit it or replace it. So after the DNA is cut, the cell tries to repair it. You can let it disable a gene, like let's say if it's a gene in the plant that you don't want to use, like, you know, if a plant goes off, like apples when they go off too fast, you can actually disable that gene and slow it down, the decay of the apple, or you can insert a new DNA.
Or make it, infertile, which means it will not have seeds in it.
Yeah, which humans kind
Love.
Well, not necessarily. We've done that unintentionally.
Watermelons?
But you have to have seeds in watermelons to produce
Yeah,
watermelons.
that's why most of the time it's just a clone that is just being cloned and petri dish kind of grown.
Yeah, but there is a problem with cloning, right? If you clone things, they don't create.
They don't evolve, and then they are very susceptible to the disease. Yes.
So, do you know the story of bananas? So, with the story of bananas, the humans kind of over cultivated them to the point where bananas stopped having
Seeds.
Yeah, and the bananas that we're used to now is actually not the bananas that were cultivated after the World War.
Not the Cavendish bananas, yeah.
Yeah, because though Cavendish bananas, they were pretty much over harvested. Don't hide behind your microphone. Show your face to people. Yeah, it was.
The wine is slowly relaxing me. I'm like, okay.
So yeah, like there is actually a problem with cloning, right? So you do want to keep the seeds. Anyway, I kind of went off the rails with the topic here. Some examples of the CRISPR, the CRISPR, that's been used in plants. There's been a drought-tolerant rice created. So what they did is they edited genes that regulate water stress response. The result was that rice plants with improved water use efficiency and drought resistance. They created rice with water use efficiency and drought resistance. And the impact was that it can survive the climate change, obviously, with more, prolonged dryness or droughts in the regions. Speaking of ripeness, how I gave that example of an apple, tomatoes that ripen slower. You know how sometimes, well, especially you know it better than anyone, when you planted your tomato forest last season, not this season, but last season.
I had a lot of green tomatoes that I made a green tomato salsa out of.
It was actually beautiful. Like, I love that salsa. But obviously, sometimes tomatoes, they ripen too fast, and you just get, I don't know, kajillion tomatoes at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they targeted the gene Gene
Grey.
that is called RIN, ripening inhibitor. They edited it and tweaked the gene to delay ripening, and that reduces food waste and better shipping durability, actually, as well. Because obviously, once you take it off the vine, you can ship it much further. They've also created mushrooms that don't brown. They edited to be honest, I'm not gonna name the genes because I don't think anyone is actually that interested in the names of the genes, but so they knocked out the gene that is responsible for browning in mushrooms, and obviously the white mushrooms can stay fresh looking longer for no added preservatives. They've created gluten reduced wheat for all of my gluten sensitive buddies out there.
Girlies.
So it's safer for people with gluten sensitivity, obviously not for celiac, because celiac is no gluten at all. There are some people who are sensitive to too much gluten. Like I'm sensitive, I can't have too much gluten. It removes or silences specific gluten coding genes. It is experimental though, like they haven't really done that yet, as in they haven't really made it into mass production yet. And obviously, I guess that everybody uses maize. Everybody wants to make more maize, corn. So yeah, they've done corn that produces more corn.
Corn that corns more corn.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, that is one of the ways. This is obviously. It's not really classified as GMO because there's no foreign DNA, but it is still a modification of the DNA.
Why does it not classify as GMO? Because GMO is genetically modified organism.
Yeah, but
it doesn't have to be insertion of something else. It's the gene that is modified.
Apparently it's not, because it's editing the gene and not actually adding. So yeah, I was wrong then. You can't really take out something and add something. This particular CRISPR system only works with the present DNA, like you can't insert anything.
Essentially just silencing or enhancing the genes.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, no foreign genes. So yeah, technically it's not GMO, but I guess it really depends on how people see it, right? Because I still think it is a genetically modified organism because you are changing the natural gene of the plant.
Going through changes. That's Big Mouth on Netflix.
Okay.
All right. Next rootstock type is 1103P.
Okay, we're going back into the grapes. Just saying.
Back into the grapes, back into the ways to strengthen your grapevine with the selected rootstock variety. And this time the variety is 1103P, which is another powerhouse. It is the child of Vitis berlandieri, same as the previous one, but this time it is Vitis rupestris. Now, this rootstock is the one you want in a hot climate where the temperatures are soaring. This one,
Soaring.
yeah,
Like very hot.
like very hot.
Okay.
This one is the heat-resistant kind of rootstock. It is standing there like, bring on the heat, baby. But yeah. Plus it does well in alkaline and clay-rich soils as well.
Rosie.
So it is pretty versatile. Rosie, I don't think having a bone next to a microphone is the greatest combination.
She's okay.
So Vitis berlandieri side of the variety gives it a drought resistance gene, and the Vitis rupestris side makes it resistant to phylloxera again. And like 99R, it helps to keep vine growth in check. So you're not dealing with the vine that is trying to grow faster and speeding the bullet, like speed bulleting, like pushing all the growth at the same time.
I thought, like, throwing grapes at you.
No, that's the, what is it? The cucumber that spits.
The cucumber that spits
Yeah,
seeds at you.
there are shooting cucumbers.
Great.
So when they ripe, their connection to the cucumber kind of falls off, and the pressure in the cucumber also kind of was growing by that time. So by the time it falls down, it just
explodes.
No, it doesn't explode. It just spits out of that connection, just like it can go up to like a meter or two. It's nice.
Okay.
Just now realized that I'm missing stuff here, but it's okay.
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, that is all for rootstocks.
Is that all for grapes, or you've got more stuff on grapes?
There is also clonal selection.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's do the clonal selection.
It's just a bit easier to keep on one topic and
Yeah,
then
true.
just switch the topic, because my topics afterwards are gonna get a bit broader, but it's something that I absolutely love and I want to mention it. Yes.
Blah, blah, blah,
Blah, blah.
blah. So yeah, besides the rootstocks, the other way to improve the quality of life for your grapevine,
It's gonna be a very happy grape.
yeah, is the clonal selection. It is like picking one of the best athletes to your team. You take a grape variety and choose the specific clones that perform better under certain environmental conditions. Hello. It's like finding the perfect grapevine clone that handles the heat, drought, and disease better than the others. There are clones that can handle high temperatures, conserve water, and even resist fungal diseases like powdery mildew and botrytis. With water becoming more of a concern, clones that can handle water stress are especially important. These clones can maintain growth even when water is a little scarce.
Okay.
Quick fun fact. Do you know that the concept of clonal selection in viticulture goes all the way back to 19th century?
I'm not surprised though, because a lot of things that are used now are actually old technologies that are kind of getting revived and brought back.
It's been around for quite a while, but now it is more important than ever due to the climate change. It have been done by, let's revise biology book number 5, grade 5, Gregor Mendel. who have developed the biological inheritance principle. You probably know it more commonly as the Mendel's P plant experiment. If you remember your Russian genetics from biology course.
Dude, I left at grade 7. Like, I just started grade 7 and
Yeah,
I left.
it probably would be there, but it's fine.
No, there's no biology in grade 7. There's no biology in grade 7.
We had biology in grade 5.
Huh?
We had biology in grade 5.
But not that biology.
Maybe.
You have, like, basic shit.
So yeah, Mendel's plant experiment was conducted in 1860. It actually laid a foundation to a modern genetics. In the experiment, he have crossbred pure line pea plants and meticulously tracked visible traits. And then Mendel discovered the principles of inheritance and inheritance patterns like dominance and recessive genes. So,
Dominant genes. Ooh.
So the easiest way to describe it in terms of the person, for example, you have brown eyes, I have blue eyes. Brown eyes is a dominant gene and the blue eyes is a recessive gene.
I don't have brown eyes though.
You
Same.
have green eye, golden.
Ember.
Oh,
no. Yeah, ember. Yep. Sorry.
Potatoes. So yeah, your eye color gene is more dominant. So it's a higher possibility to have that gene showing off.
Is blue? Because I thought
it's a
blue.
recessive.
Really? Because I thought blue is quite dominant as well.
No. Same as the dark hair. Dark hair is a dominant gene. Blonde hair is a recessive gene. That's why if, for example, like...
If this was my natural color. Because this isn't.
If we were to have a child, it would probably look more like you than me.
Okay, so looking more Asian.
looking more dark haired, dark eyed.
Well, yeah, looking more Asian, like I am partially.
And that's the principle behind the targeted selection, for example.
Okay.
Like you see those traits, and you over the period of time of crossing the different different varieties of the plant, you realize which gene is dominant, which one is recessive, and then you just target that.
Yeah. So they do that. Funny enough, like I'm just looking at your fish tank. Sasha and his partner Jamie, they have 3 fish tanks actually. Mm-hmm. But this is how they bred. Well, the same with dogs actually. This is how they bred. You know the goggly eyes fish. What is it called?
The telescope golden fish.
Yeah, the goggly eyes ones. Because this is how they bred it out, right? They just started breeding the golden fish that had bigger eyes.
Yeah,
together.
all the goldfish that you have in your aquarium come from one species, which is koi fish. I think it is.
I don't know if it came from koi, but it definitely came from one type of golden fish that just over time they kept breeding. You know, fish with bigger eyes, more fish with bigger eyes, and that's how we get
fish with bigger fins, fish with different coloring.
Yeah, so pretty much you can do the same with plants. You just select the genes that you want to keep reproducing, and favorable genes, I guess. Yeah.
And then the next step is when the magic happens, when you are combining the rootstock technology and the clones, like clone selection.
This sounds like Star Wars shit.
Yeah. So yeah, when you graft your right clone onto a suitable rootstock, and you get a vine that particularly made to thrive in the environment. It's like finding the perfect team combo. Rootstock and the clone working together, creating a dream team of vine resilience. The right rootstock can help with water uptake and pest resistance, while the right clone can boost the resilience to heat or drought. It's a combination that lets vineyards stay productive, even in tough conditions. Now the trick is that it takes fucking long time, because it takes trial and error. It takes... Okay, you are trying to graft your grapevine onto the rootstock. It can fail. You are trying to choose the gene that will be favorable in that climate. Takes time as well. With CRISPR, easier, especially if you have decoded at least part of the gene and you know what you're looking for. But yeah. I'm not hiding. I see the camera. The camera sees me. We have eye contact. Hello.
I gotta zoom in on that shit.
Okay.
Right.
I shall pass the microphone to you.
You can pass the wine bottle to me.
I told you at the beginning of this podcast that you
No,
will be
there's still.
sitting there.
I still have a little bit. No, it's not
Yeah,
fully
with
empty.
with 2 drops of wine.
Same with you, boy.
Woo! Have you noticed? What is this?
This is actually hemlock.
You think
Oh,
it's
no.
hemlock?
Well, it's not. It's definitely not achillea. Or it could be just a carrot plant. It's definitely not achillea. Achillea, that's different from achillea.
So yeah, what we're talking about, on the bottle, they actually have, like, not negative space. What is it? How do you properly call it?
Design,
Well, design, but
silhouette.
silhouette. Thank you. They have a silhouette of a plant that we discussed 2 or 3 episodes ago. Kind of looks like hemlock. Could be carrot.
Yeah, it could be like carrot or
Could be dill.
annalise or yeah, all that.
Baby's breath.
Yeah. So obviously, this not you. Blah, 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 blah.
Focus.
Yeah. I actually have a lot of notes, but they are not organized, and this is what's a bit difficult here. But you can instead of modifying the genetics and the DNA of the plant, you can also apparently improve natural photosynthesis. Did you know that? So you can enhance rubisco efficiency. RUBISCO.
Rubisco.
Yeah, it's like almost like, looks like a chemistry formula almost. It is usually slow and often is an inefficient enzyme that fixes CO2. Scientists have tried tweaking or replacing it with more efficient versions.
Not virgins.
Yeah, from other organisms.
Replace it with more efficient virgins.
So yeah, that way they're trying to make it a bit more efficient so that it can actually absorb more CO2 and obviously store it in the plant. Speaking of rootstocks and roots, what they're trying to do as well is breed the plants to be able to store more carbon in the roots and underground. Because obviously when the plants, they use CO2 to produce oxygen, right? That CO2 does not get fully converted. It actually gets stored in the plant. So hence when you burn wood,
You release CO2. You release carbon.
a lot of carbon, monoxide and dioxide at the same time, right?
That is the whole idea behind the carbon accounting. And for some reason, well, actually, no. The biggest carbon sink, it's the technical term carbon sink, where it gets stored the most is soils. But for some reason, it is not used in carbon accounting for understanding like how much carbon, like you have, for example, you have built a house. You can calculate how much carbon have been used to actually produce this house based on the materials, based on the labor, money, fuel, everything. And you can offset it by, okay, you have used so much carbon onto the building of this house.
Yeah.
You can offset it by purchasing carbon credits, for example.
Yeah.
I don't really like it, the
No.
idea of that, but
I mean, it's better than nothing, but it is definitely, it's more of a
it's a scheme.
scheme or scam.
It's a scheme.
Yeah.
It's a pyramid scheme.
You're not hiding behind the microphone?
I'm not, don't worry. So yeah, you can offset it by like, okay, I'll buy the credits from the forestry over here because they have grown forests for this amount of time, and you can calculate how much carbon have been fixed by a tree. Trees are one of the major sources of the fixing carbon because they lock the carbon in them as they grow.
They're also the fastest. Like
The fastest,
one of
yeah.
the fastest, yeah.
The
And
fastest
obviously-
one is soil.
Yeah, no, sorry, not the fastest. They have the most capacity. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry,
Still soil.
out of plants.
Out of plants, yes.
I got there
Got
eventually.
there. Got there.
Yeah. Oh, is that it?
I forgot where we were going with it.
The fact that they don't calculate the carbon that is in the soil, you were saying.
Yeah,
They don't take it into account.
they don't, and I don't know why, because that's literally the biggest.
I do wonder if it's more difficult to actually...
It's harder to calculate and
Yeah.
estimate.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what scientists are trying to do, is to kind of breed plants that will be...
Better
modify
at
them.
fixing.
at fixing it and storing it in the ground, because obviously once the plant dies or once it burns, it releases a lot of carbon. But when it's in soil, the release is much slower, which means that it can actually be stored there for longer in the soil.
Now explain why is it so important to fix carbon?
I'll leave that job to you, Mr. Soil scientist.
I'm just a scientist. I'm just
I'm just a simple scientist.
just a simple scientist.
Yeah.
Don't call me that, please. I'm not a scientist. No. So
Well, you are environmental scientist.
Environmental
This
scientist.
is your actual title.
title, yes. Unfortunately,
No,
fortunately, it's good.
It's good.
I just feel the pressure to perform. So yeah, CO2 is the greenhouse gas. It's
Yeah.
one of the main greenhouse gases, and that's why it is important to be able to fix it in soil or in plants, or by capturing it from the air. There are actually factories that can just filter it out of the air.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but it can be done.
Yeah. So obviously, if we are talking about, Earth in, I don't know, 50 years and climate change, CO2 and other greenhouse gases are the major contributor to CO2 because they trap the heat within our atmosphere. So obviously it's storing it somewhere else, shipping it to another planet. That has been also there have been talks about that.
That's stupid, because you're literally depleting your own planet of carbon.
No, it is stupid, yeah, but there are theories about that as well.
Like, learn how to trap it, learn how to utilize it. It is literally one of the
Make more bubbly drinks.
make more bubbly drinks, make more diamond. I don't know. Yes, it's expensive.
Diamond?
Just carbon is diamond.
Ah. Yeah.
Diamonds are made of carbon.
Yeah. Diamonds are made of coal, and coal is...
Coal is carbon. Carbon is coal. Coal is diamond. Diamond is money. Why is it so expensive?
Yeah. In terms of carbon sequestration, which is actually the actual term
Sequestering.
for it. Sequestration. Yeah. Mangroves are actually exceptionally good at storing carbon in both biomass and soil. Apparently it's called blue carbon. Mangroves are actually such a... they fascinate me so much because it's trees that grow in water that have roots that can breathe. Sounds like a tree from, another planet.
Okay, can you explain what do you mean by roots can breathe?
So I can't remember the actual term for them, but mangroves, they grow... So imagine a tree growing in the water. This is layman's terms of mangroves. In order to... Because obviously in water you don't have enough oxygen and air, and obviously your plants, they need that for the processes, right, to keep alive. So what mangroves do is they actually grow out of water. They grow this tube-looking things.
Stem.
I don't know what they're called. There's a term for them. Aerial roots?
Yeah.
Yeah. To actually collect the air, and those are actually above the water level. Yeah.
Are mangrove trees the variety of the aroid?
I don't know.
Do you remember what is the... Okay, it's fine.
You can Google it.
I
yeah.
can Google it, yeah.
So they do protect the coastlines from erosion. Not only they are good at carbon sequestration, but also they protect coastlines because mangroves grow in salt water. They usually grow in estuaries, which is like an area where there is the mix of salt water and fresh water from the rivers. And they can sequester 3 to 5 times more carbon per acre than a tropical rainforest. This is exactly why it is so important that we preserve our mangroves. Groves? But unfortunately, they are depleting really fast.
So the aerial roots on mangroves are called pneumatophores, or breathing roots.
There you go. Yeah. There are more plants that are, more efficient at carbon sequestration, but
Bamboo is one of them.
yeah, bamboo is one of them actually. The trouble with bamboo, like it overtakes, so you gotta be very careful with bamboo.
But is definitely the quickest one.
Yeah, bamboo. So bamboo is actually a type of grass. Like it is from a family of grass. But
It's your chicory.
have you seen those massive bamboos that are like
The black bamboo?
not even just the black. We had that conversation before.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I think it was in our plants from our travels, actually. Yeah, because I saw bamboo there. I was like, oh. What is the term? Deja vu. There you go. Yeah.
What is the opposite of déjà vu?
I don't know.
Déjà vu.
What?
Déjà vu.
Really?
It's like I can't remember how to properly actually.
I didn't even know that exists, but okay. But yeah, they do have high carbon uptake, and they are great for reforestation. I don't know about that. But yeah, bamboo is actually a very strong material for construction as well. Like in some countries, they use it for scaffold. Like they use bamboo for scaffolding.
Yeah, jamais vu, which is the feeling of unfamiliarity, even though you have been there. Essentially, a brain fart.
Oh, I have that all the time.
Just call it a jamais vu instead of a brain fart.
Yeah. Do you have other topics, or were
No.
you mostly talking about the grapes?
No, I'm happy to just banter with you now.
Okay. So this is how we can work on helping the plants adapt for upcoming climate change, right? Now, imagine the world goes to shit, or part of the world goes to shit.
Why do I need to imagine? I can open the curtain.
Let's say, I don't know, something happened to half of New Zealand, right? We had massive earthquake, we had massive flood that wiped out a lot of plants. Do you know that there are
Seed bank.
facilities that are called seed banks? So we have, I think New Zealand does have one seed bank, if not multiple. Different countries have seed banks as well. But there is one seed bank that is named as pretty much like an apocalypse or end of day seed bank. Do you know where it's located?
Tibet?
No. Somewhere very cold. So there is this,
Antarctica.
not quite. There is this archipelago or an island or a group of islands in Norway.
Norway!
It's a part of Norway, but it's not the mainland Norway. It's located on the island called Svalbard, not too far from the town called Longyearbyen. Now, this is one of the islands that I want to visit. I absolutely love Svalbard. I don't know, it fascinates me so much. It's probably the most Arctic town where people actually live. There is permafrost, right? So there are no trees that grow there. There is very limited vegetation. But people are so happy there, and I just want to visit it. Anyway, Svalbard Global Seed Vault is a secure backup facility for the world's crop diversity. The reason they chose Svalbard is obviously because of the temperatures and how cold it is, and it's like a natural refrigerator. It is located on the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen. That's right. The island is called Spitsbergen, but the archipelago is called Svalbard. The seed vault provides long-term storage for duplicates of seeds from around the world. So it's like a backup facility for, let's say in New Zealand, we have the seed vault, and the duplicates of that are stored in Svalbard seed vault.
So it's a backup of a backup.
Pretty much, yeah. Which has actually been used. Like, I'll tell you a story in here as well. It has actually been utilized in that particular term because one of the seed banks either was destroyed or inaccessible. The facility is designed to protect against the loss of seeds in gene banks due to various factors such as mismanagement, accident, equipment failure, funding cuts, war, sabotage, disease, and natural disasters. So they started storing the plant germplasms via frozen seeds in an abandoned coal mine outside of Longyearbyen in 1984.
They're so stupid as well. Like, I'm just going back to a sentence that you just read, that they have to be prepared for sabotage. It's like, people are so like, let's destroy a fucking seed bank. Why not?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be... I mean, you never know. Maybe because some countries are very dependent on their seed banks.
Well, those seed banks are not just for the security for food. It's just literally historical preservation. It's preservation of species. It's not just it's not some countries' GDP or some countries' heritage or money. It's literally preserving the planet's.
It depends on where it is, because in some cases it is actually the preservation of the crops, the crop seeds. Yeah. Anyway, I can't remember the year that it was officially opened, 2000 something, can't remember. But in 2019, the seed vault cost about 2.4 million crowns, which is 282,000 US dollars to maintain a year, I'm assuming. As of May 2024, the seed vault conserves 280,677 accessions, representing more than 13,000 years of agricultural history. Its mission is to provide a backup against accidental loss, as I mentioned before. It is intended to be accessed when gene banks lose samples due to mismanagement. So Norwegian law also prohibited the storing of genetically modified seeds at the vault. So it is natural, non-modified seeds that can be stored in there. The way the seed bank works as well is it's like a safety deposit box, right? So as the owner, it usually the depositors are usually
the withdrawers.
Not the depositors.
Well, the depositors are usually the ones who are taking it out.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is the depositors are usually either other gene banks all over the world or science centers or research centers. They can deposit, but they are the only ones who can withdraw it. Norway has no ownership of that as well. And it is only... You can only do it that way. Like, you can't actually withdraw anybody else's seeds, pretty much. So, as an example, the Syrian civil war created a situation where the black box arrangement was actually demonstrated. It's called the black box arrangement, where you can only deposit and withdraw your own seeds. As a result of the conflict, ICARDA, I can't remember the full, it's like a research center, they were unable to maintain their gene bank located at Tel Hadia, Syria, and they withdrew some of the backup samples that were stored in the seed vault so that they could regenerate those seeds. So they already had some in their vault. Something happened to the vault due to war, so they withdrew their deposit, grew more seeds, so that they can put it back in their own storage, because that is a backup, right? They have actually, once they've done that, they've returned their seeds back to Norway. They could have returned the new ones, but pretty much the same deposit was made back. And those seeds, they were planted in the fields in Lebanon and Morocco to be multiplied. So they actually really needed those seeds to bring back the biodiversity, but also the food crops, right? Rosie.
Potato is grizzling.
Yeah. So the reason why they call that seed vault as like a, apocalypse ready seed vault is because it is the most diverse seed vault in the world because it has all the varieties from all different nations. Apparently, it even has like wheat from 1920s, wheat seeds. Yeah.
Which is not even that far.
Yeah. I'm actually reading this book now as well, which is called The Life of a Tree, I think. And it is, it's centered on that seed vault. So it's like future, right? 2100 something. Like it's in the future. Something happened to the world. There is like an outbreak of multiple viruses, I think. And there is a group of people that is trying to get the seeds out from that seed vault. But there's only one person who has access to it. So yeah, it's a very interesting book, but it kind of, I guess, explores that scenario where, you know, something happened, biodiversity got lost, and they're trying to restore it via getting the seeds from there. But I guess it's also challenging because the people who are trying to get it are not the ones who deposited it, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah, I found it really fascinating that, you know, there's this thing that exists in the world. Yeah. One last...
How long is it?
50-something minutes.
It's okay. We can go. We can continue.
One last thing that I wanted to talk
I mean,
about.
like, there is probably like 15 minutes out of it was just whining dog.
There she goes again. Yeah. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is actually very relative to today. We have an extreme weather, which is not typical for Christchurch or for New Zealand in general. This is
Is it though?
not that amount of rain, no.
It's autumn. It's wet season coming.
No, that's actually more than a month of rainfall.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not typical. But we keep seeing those events more and more, right? Because climate change. Freaking Trump doesn't believe it, but climate change. There is this concept that is implemented in China at the moment. It is called sponge cities. What do you think that means?
Well, either they plant the dense vegetation or they create hollow, like, reservoirs under the cities.
Kind of. Not quite under the city, but you are there with your thoughts. Yeah, that's the right track. So the concept of sponge cities is using natural systems to deal with water. So you know what concrete jungle is, right? Concrete jungle is when you have a lot of buildings, a lot of impermeable surfaces. And
impervious.
Impermeable is also the term. And obviously the water, instead of going through the ground, it actually gets collected somewhere. And this is where the problem is, because we cover a lot of natural ground with hard surfaces that are impervious, and that creates stress on the area where the water is directed to.
Yeah, and that's that's the whole job of mine at the moment, calculating the catchments. Saying, okay, is your development going to affect the wetland that is at the edge of the development? Because you're literally like 70% of your development is going to be covering the catchment, which is impermeable, which means that wetland is going to dry out. You need to create the culverts, you need to redirect everything that is collected over the roofs, over the pavement, back into the wetland through all of those culverts and under the road stuff, stormwater systems into that wetland and filter it as well.
Well, this is where the sponge city is a slightly different concept. Instead of using stormwater systems like traditional built stormwater systems, you would actually use natural ones like bioswales and sort of overland drainage. So similar to what we do have a lot of that in Christchurch, actually. So in the new developments, what they do now is if they build a reserve, that reserve is usually built to hold water. So like, you know, when you drive on a motorway, let's say towards, you know, Rolleston, you see these dips,
Yeah.
massive fields with dips. When I was driving back today after work, all of that is full of water. But this is its purpose, right? Instead of water flooding somewhere, it is actually redirected by bioswales and just by natural drainage into that area, and that area holds it and then slowly releases it into the ground. And concept of sponge cities is implementing that when you are planning, so not doing it after you've seen that there's this area floods, let's do something about it. So using green infrastructure, using plants that are suitable for conditions like that, plants that can be exposed to extremes like that. But also, if you think about it, Christchurch used to be a wetland, right? I think we've discussed it in the previous episode as well. And they've dried it to build the town here. And that's kind of, it's taking its natural sponginess out of it. And now we're trying to return it. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, I like that topic. It is very relative to my industry. It is very relative to your industry.
Relevant. Yeah, not relative. Relevant. Related, maybe. Relative, not.
Grammar police here. Or
Grammar
English police here.
My grammar police.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's not really related to just plants, obviously. It's related to the whole infrastructure, but it is green infrastructure. So using plants and using nature.
Maybe that's going to be our next topic, a green infrastructure.
There's a lot of it. Like a lot of different measurements that you can do.
Exactly. That's why it's a next topic. Spoiler alert.
Apparently it's in the next topic. Okay.
Yeah. And this is a wrap for Two Tipsy Plants podcast for today. Please don't hesitate and don't forget to support our podcast and give your plants some love from us. Give some love to us as well. Go into our Instagram or our Spotify.
Well, any
platform that you any podcasting platform or any other social medias that you have access to, and give us a follow and a like.
I'm actually surprised you don't remember the outro.
And don't forget to keep it green
and keep it tipsy.
Bye
bye. You also forgot to thank you for joining us and listening to our shenanigans, but that's okay.
Keep it green and keep it tipsy.
Bye bye.